As I was running towards the warrior drone, one of the most unbelievable things in my life happened. The warrior drone started making choking noises and then started convulsing, screeching, and heaving. And I spotted a shiny silver blade protrude out of the creature's stomach. The blade, sticking out of the monster, cut right across the whole underside, and the enormous wound in the creature opened up, and guts, black blood, and a very pale Blaine spilled out onto the cafeteria floor. He was covered from head to toe in saliva, slime, and guts, but other than that and a few scratch marks on his exposed skin, he seemed fine. "Holy crap," I said, running to Blaine and giving him a hug, ignoring the slime and guts. "How did you do that?" "Man, that was hard. Smelled horrible in there." "How are you even alive?" Armin asked incredulously. Blaine just shrugged. "You want to keep going or you want to head back? I mean, you did just get eaten alive by a cave monster," I said. Nah, man. I can keep going. I think some of the guts got in my mouth. Man, screw me. It tastes sweet." I nervously laughed, and the four of us kept going. Before we left, Blaine kicked the monster and said one last, "Screw you," to it. We went through the cafeteria and finally found the electrical room. I went inside, found the breakers, and said, "Let there be light," before flipping them on. The lights in the school lit up one by one, and the whole place was flooded with the familiar light that we had gotten used to in our years of attending. I grinned. "Yeah, we did it." We all congratulated each other and had a short celebration, and we went back through the cafeteria, out the hallway that we had come in from. And that's when we heard screaming coming from the classroom full of survivors that we had just seen. We hauled it over to the class and found a disturbing scene. There were two anglers, both of them regular drones, cornering the class. There was a dead drone laying on the floor which that sketchy kid had probably killed, but they had run out of ammo. One of the monsters grabbed the kid and began to drag him out of the classroom. "Hold your fire, you might hit them." We lowered our weapons and pulled out our knives and spears instead. Armin and I snuck up on one of the drones and made quick work of it. The other drone snapped its head at us and screeched. Armin slashed at the monster, but it hit him with its tail, and Armin crashed into a cluster of desks. Then the monster started to circle me in the classroom. "That guy's right on ya," Blaine yelled. "Yeah, I can see that," I said, as the monster circled me. "Pass me your knife." Blaine threw his knife and I caught it. But I caught it by the blade itself and I cut my hand badly. I repositioned the knife in my hand and I threw it at the drone's head. The handle of the knife harmlessly hit the drone and fell down. "What the heck was that?" Blaine asked. "A distraction," I said, as I quickly sidestepped the distracted drone and stabbed it right in the neck with my other knife. This one didn't go down as easily as I had hoped, and in a flash, I was knocked right off the drone, still holding my knife. The drone leapt at me and pinned me down before I could kick it off, and I was instantly crushed to the ground under its immense weight. It opened its mouth and kept biting at me as I kept rolling over to dodge it. The drone bit at me and it got a hold of its long and forked tongue, and I cut it off. I drew the blade back and stabbed it clean through the roof of its mouth, just as RJ came in and started viciously attacking the monster in the side. I sighed and kicked the dead monster off me. "I guess I'll add that to the kill count," I said. I remembered what Charlie had said about there being a certain limit to members of a colony in a certain area. I wondered how much of the drone population we had taken out. We led the class back down the hallway into the office, and that's when I remembered about the unconscious kid that we had left in the locked classroom. "Ah, crap," I exclaimed, remembering. "What is it?" Blaine asked. "We left the unconscious kid in the classroom, and forgot to take him with us." We left Armin and RJ to protect the 9th grade class while Blaine and I went back down the hallway to retrieve the unconscious kid that we had forgotten about. I pushed the key in and I turned the lock and opened the door. Inside, the kid was still laying on the ground, unconscious. "How is he still unconscious?" I groaned. "Yeah, man, you sure he isn't dead?" I walked up to the teen and knelt down, checking his pulse. "Yeah, he's still alive. Might just be concussed or something." Blaine and I grabbed one leg each and began to drag the knocked out kid down the hallway. For only being about 15 years old, give or take, he sure was heavy. Swear that he must have weighed over 150. The kid's eyes suddenly shot open as he regained consciousness and he jumped up. "What's happening?" he screamed. And then he saw the two teenagers holding guns, dragging him down the school hallway. "What the?" But before he could finish, Blaine threw a wild haymaker at the kid, knocking him out and sending him crashing to the floor. I liked him better when he was unconscious. Blaine chuckled softly. He grabbed his legs again and finished the walk to the office. Back there, we were greeted by our class, Army vet Principal Marlowe, Armin, RJ, and the other class that we had saved. Marlowe walked out of the office holding a rifle and looked at the unconscious kid that we were dragging down the now lit hallway. "Hey, well done. You can keep the guns, you guys have earned them." I dragged the kid to the front of the office and I dropped him there. "Here, I don't know what to do with him. You're the principal, I guess." "Hey, Blaine, why are you covered in all that mess? And come into my office and tell me everything that happened." Blaine and I walked into the principal's private office and sat down in the two chairs that we had sat down in so many times before, in trouble for doing all kinds of stuff. "So, what happened out there?" I grinned and took in a deep breath. "Well, while we were going down the hallway, we found a drone and dragging an unconscious kid out of a classroom. We easily disposed of it and locked the door and left to get him later. I also found a whole class of survivors and I got in a fight with one of them when they tried to steal my gun. I ended up giving one of the kids a pistol and we left. When we got to the cafeteria, one of these things called a warrior drone, which are like the regular drones but on steroids, attacked us. It ended up eating Blaine and..." Marlowe laughed. "Wait, if one of these things ate Brian, then how was he?" "I'll get to that part. So, Blaine got eaten by one of the monsters and he ended up escaping and killing it by cutting open the stomach on the inside and crawling out." "I sure did," Blaine said. Marlowe laughed again, but he couldn't really doubt it because Blaine was covered in guts and black slime. I continued. "So we made it to the breakers and turned the lights on, as you can see, and left the cafeteria. We showed up in the nick of time just as the class of survivors were being attacked by one of those monsters, and we managed to take all of them out with only our knives. We took them back here, forgot about the kid, grabbed him, and took him back here as well. We killed 4 of those things in total, so we can keep the guns." "Yeah, sure, I have like 20 more anyway," Marlowe replied. He checked his watch, which surprisingly still worked. "It's almost nighttime." "Does that change anything?" I asked. "I mean, the lights are going to be on as long as the electricity is running, and there's virtually no light coming in from the outside." "Well, we'll still have to sleep." "In this office?" "Yeah, we can make it work." A few hours later at 9 o'clock, our class and the other class were sitting around the office trying to sleep. Blaine, Armin, and I weren't trying to, though. We were keeping watch right outside the office. Do you think the whole town is like this?" Armin asked at last. Our urban town was medium-sized, yet in an isolated area in the Pacific Northwest. There was a lot of violence in our area, and Blaine and RJ belonged to a particular group that took part in that. "Yeah, maybe," I said, "but everybody here is armed as heck, so the drones probably don't stand a chance outside of this high school." Armin chuckled in response. "Well, Charlie and the principal said that the drones are some kind of colony species that come from an enormous underground lake deep below the school in an underground cave system. But yeah, I've never seen anything like this before." Just then, I heard something fall over and crash in one of the further hallways. We all shut up. What was that? Heck if I know, I replied. Let's go check it out. Bring the guns. With all of us armed, the three of us walked a little further down the hallway, into a classroom on the left. It came from over here, I whispered. Hey, let's go inside. 5, 4, 3, 1. Armin kicked open the door, and as soon as we went inside, his pistol was pulled from his grip. Somebody put him in a headlock and pressed an old kitchen knife against his throat. Well, what do we have here? Don't move.